Most nights it is the same. You wash your face, you pat it dry, and before you have even reached for anything, your skin has already gone tight on you, pulls a little across the cheeks, feels thin over the bone, almost papery, like it forgot how to hold itself. And it was not always like that. There was a stretch of years where you did nothing, and your face just stayed soft, and you did not think about it once. Then somewhere in here the softness started leaving faster than you could put it back, and now you are standing at the mirror doing the math on how much you have spent trying to buy it back. The little jar, the bigger jar with the gold lid, the serum the girl at the counter swore by. And your face, honey, is still tight. I want to sit with you a minute because I have stood right where you are standing, and I have got something to tell you that is going to take a lot of that spending off your shoulders. It is one oil. It costs a few dollars, and there are only really 3 steps to it. The oil itself is the easy part. It is the doorway into a whole way of keeping your skin, the way the old women kept theirs, and by the time we are done, I want you walking out of here with all of it, not just the bottle. Let me tell you how it came to me. I was already up in my years, deep in one of those dry winters where my face felt like it belonged to somebody else, and I had a neighbor back then, a Mexican-American woman raised out in the desert country of Arizona. Her people had been out there for generations. And this woman, her skin at near 70, caught the light like something poured. I finally asked her plain what in the world she was using, expecting her to name me some department store thing I could not pronounce. She laughed at me. She went in her little bathroom and came out with a plain golden bottle, no fancy label, and she said, "Child, this is jojoba. My grandmother's people took the bean off the bush right out of that desert and pressed it. That is all this is." And she put a few drops in my hand. First, what this oil is and what it is not, before I ever tell you how to use it, because I am not here to sell you another miracle. Jojoba oil is not going to lift your face. It will not pull up a jowl that has come down. It will not fill a deep line you have earned over 60 some years, and any soul who tells you a $5 oil erases a wrinkle you can set your finger in is lying straight to your face. That is not what it is for. What it does is soften. It puts back that suppleness that has been walking out of your skin, so your face stops feeling tight and papery and starts feeling like yours again. Over weeks, as your skin gets healthier and stays that way, it helps your own tone even back out, and it helps those old dark spots you have been covering fade slow, a little at a time, not lighter. I will never once stand here and talk to you about lighter skin, evener. The brown you already are, just healthy and holding light again the way it used to. That is the honest ceiling of it, and everything I give you from here sits under it. Now, that jar with the gold lid, that is where the real story sits. When my neighbor said her people pressed that bean off a desert bush, she was not telling me a folk tale. She was telling me the thing the beauty companies would rather you never put together. For the longest time, the oil the fancy houses prized most for skin came out of the sperm whale. The head of that animal. They hunted it near to nothing for it, because that whale oil sat on human skin better than almost anything else they had. Then along about the early 1970s, the whale got protected, endangered, and they could not bring that oil in anymore. So the industry went hunting for a stand-in, and what they landed on was this little desert bean that native people out in that Sonoran country had been pressing into a skin salve for hundreds of years. Because it turns out jojoba is just about the closest thing there is to the oil your own skin makes. Your skin does not even argue with it. It takes it in like it belongs. So sit with what happened next. The industry found the cheap desert bean, the one that acts like your own skin's oil, the one the old people already knew, and instead of handing it to you plain for a few dollars, they did what they always do. They put a whisper of it into a $90 jar, filled the rest with cheaper filler and water and a smell, and sold you back the story. The serum on that counter that cost you 50, 80, $90. A good many of them have this very oil in them, sitting near the bottom of the ingredient list where the little bit of it lives. You have, more than likely, already bought jojoba. You just carried it home under a gold lid and paid for the lid. And I want to be careful how I say this to you, because it was not some room full of men in suits plotting against you by name. It is quieter and sadder than that. There is good money in selling you the $90 jar, and there is no money at all in teaching you the $5 bottle. So the plain one just went quiet on the shelf, and the story got told to you the expensive way over and over until you forgot there was a cheap way that worked. Nobody had to scheme it. That is almost worse. Before I put the good oil in your hand, a word about the kitchen too, because I do not stand here telling you the old way is always right and the store is always wrong. It is not that simple, and you would be right not to trust a woman who talked like it was. Some of what your aunties passed around does not work, and some of it will hurt you. Lemon juice on your face is one. I know women who still swear by rubbing a cut lemon on a dark spot to fade it. Do not do that to your skin, baby. It is far too harsh, it burns, and worse than that, it leaves your skin raw to the sun, so the very spot you were trying to fade can come back darker and angrier than it started. Toothpaste dabbed on a blemish is another one they still pass around. All it does is dry that patch out and leave the good skin around it red and cross, and the spot pays it no mind at all. And plain coconut oil, which everybody and their mother pushes. It is fine for some, but it will sit on top of a lot of faces and clog them right up. And then here you come thinking oil broke you out when it was the wrong oil. This one is not that. This one works. So here is the whole of it, 3 simple steps, and I want you to hear the little details inside them, because the details are where women go wrong, and then say it did nothing for them. Step 1 is the buying, and it matters more than you would think. You want jojoba oil that says cold pressed, unrefined, and 100% on the label, not a blend, not a jojoba something or other with a list of extras, just the oil. It ought to be a soft gold color, and it ought to have almost no smell. You will find it at the health food store, at the pharmacy in the natural aisle, or you order it, and a real bottle runs you just a few dollars up to 9 or 10, and it lasts a good long while, because this oil does not go rancid quick the way your kitchen oils do. That is one of its quiet gifts. A little bottle keeps on your shelf for a year or more and stays good. Step 2 is the putting on, and here is the part most women skip. You do not slap oil on a bone-dry face. You cleanse first, gentle, and while your face is still a little damp, still holding some water, you put 3 to 5 drops of the jojoba in your palm. Rub your 2 hands together to warm it so it is not cold going on. Then you smooth it into your skin. Press, do not scrub. Palms flat, moving up and out, over your cheeks, your forehead, and do not you dare forget your neck and the front of your chest, where the skin is thinnest and gives you away first. That little bit of damp under the oil is what lets it lock the water in instead of just sitting on top, and that is the whole trick to it feeling soft by morning instead of tight again by midnight. Step 3 is the how often, and it is the easy one. Every night. That is the main event, at night, on clean, damp skin, before bed. In the morning, if your skin is very dry, you can press in a drop or 2 under your sunscreen, but you do not need much in the day. Nightly is what carries it. And hear me on the timing, because I will not soften it the way the jar does. You will feel softer in a few days. That part comes quick. But the tone evening out, the old spots fading, the skin looking calmer and more like itself, that is weeks and months of staying with it. This is not an overnight thing. Nothing that lasts is. You stay with it the way you stay with anything worth keeping. My own first go with it went like this, so you know what to look for. That first night I braced for a greasy face on my pillow, because that is what oil had always meant to me. It was not like that at all. It sank in near quick, left my skin soft and not slick, and I went to sleep like normal. Come morning my face was not tight for the first time and I could not tell you how long. That was the few days. The rest came slower and quieter, the way real things do. Some weeks on, my daughter looked at me a beat too long across the kitchen and asked what I had changed, because something about my face looked rested to her. I had not reached for one expensive thing. I had gone the cheap way, and it showed. That is when I put the gold lid down for good. Here is why it works, in plain talk, because you ought to understand it, and not just take it on faith. Your skin, all its life, made its own oil to keep itself soft and sealed. As we age, it makes less and less of that oil, and that is a good piece of why everything goes tight and papery. Jojoba is the closest thing in all of nature to that very oil your own skin used to make. So when you press it in, your face is not getting some foreign grease it has to fight. It is getting back the thing it stopped making. It reads it as its own and settles right down. Think of it like an old cast iron pan, the kind your mother would never let anybody wash with soap. What keeps that pan good is the seasoning, that thin coat of oil worked into it over years. Let it go dry and bare and it rusts, and everything sticks and catches. Keep it lightly oiled and it stays smooth and does its work for 50 years. Your skin past 60 is that pan. It has lost its seasoning. All you are doing with this bottle is putting the seasoning back, a few drops at a time, so the surface stays smooth and protected instead of dry and catching. That is the whole science of it, and you did not need a white coat to follow it. But here is the part that gets left off when a thing gets sold in a hurry. The oil is not the answer all by itself. The oil is one good habit inside a whole way of keeping your skin, and if you only take the oil and leave the rest, you will get some of the good but not all of it. The women I have known whose skin stayed soft into their 70s and 80s, my desert neighbor and my own grandmother, and the old church mothers, they were not doing one thing. They were keeping their skin, the whole of it, and that keeping is what I want in your hands most of all. It starts with how you wash. I can still see my grandmother at her kitchen sink of a morning, no rushing, patting cool water up onto her face with both hands and never once dragging a rough rag across it. So many of us now are scrubbing our faces like we are scrubbing a pot, hot water into soap that squeaks and strips. You feel that squeaky clean and you think it means clean, but what it means is you just took every bit of your own oil off and left your skin bare, and then you wonder why it is tight. Wash with lukewarm water, never hot. Hot water pulls the moisture right out of aging skin. Use something gentle and creamy that does not leave you squeaking, and do not wash more than you need to. A good rinse in the morning and a real but gentle cleanse at night is plenty. Your skin is not dirty so much as it is dry, and the whole industry has us confusing the two. Your skin is also fed from the inside, and the oil only helps from the outside. A woman who is walking around thirsty all day, running on coffee, is going to have thirsty skin no matter what she puts on it. And the greens, the fish, the good fats, the real food your grandmother cooked, that is skin food. We knew this once. Somewhere we let it get traded for a supplement in a bottle, but it was always on the plate. The sun is the next one, and I need you to hear me close on it, because there is an old idea in our community about it. Somewhere along the way we got told our skin was covered, that the sun was not our worry the way it was theirs, that we do not burn. I understand where that came from, and I am telling you plainly it is not the whole truth, and believing it has cost us. Our skin has more of its own natural shade built in, yes, thank God, but the sun still ages it. And worse than that, the sun is a big reason those dark spots and uneven patches set in and refuse to leave. So you can press jojoba in every faithful night of your life, but if you hand your face to that sun all day with nothing on it, you are undoing with the one hand what you did with the other. A little sun protection on your face and the backs of your hands most days is one of the truest anti-aging things you will ever do, and it costs a fraction of the serums. Last is the small handling, the gentleness, because aging skin is thinner and it drags. Stop pulling at it. When you dry your face, pat, do not rub. When you put anything on, press it in, do not scrub it. Sleep on a satin or silk pillowcase instead of cotton, so your face is not dragged against a rough weave for 8 hours a night, pulling at the skin around your eyes and cheeks. And do not stop at the face. That neck and those hands are the first places a woman's age comes to settle, and they are the very places we forget. Everything you do for your face, walk it right down the neck and onto the backs of the hands, every night. That, all of it together, is how the old women kept their skin. The jojoba is one good habit that lives inside it, a doorway. But the room is the whole keeping, and now you have the room. A couple of small extras, too, other cheap old things that ride right alongside the oil, since you are already there. If it is deep winter and your skin is truly thirsty, you can seal the jojoba in with a little pure shea butter over the top on your neck and chest, the real raw shea, not the whipped up scented kind. On a puffy morning, a cool splash of water or a cool spoon left in the icebox pressed under the eyes brings the swelling down for pennies. These are little things, but they are your things, and they cost you almost nothing. Now the honest boundary, the same as my grandmother would give it, because loving you plain means telling you where the kitchen stops. This oil, this whole way of keeping, is for the ordinary business of aging skin, dryness, tightness, dullness, the old flat spots, the crepey feel. That, the oil and the keeping will help. But if you have a mole that has changed, that has gone a strange shape or color, or started to bleed or itch, or a sore that will not heal, or a patch that is growing and does not act like the rest of your skin, that is not a job for any oil, and you do not sit home hoping. You go and you see a doctor. And I will say this part too, because it is true and it is ours to say. You find one who takes black skin seriously, who actually knows how these things show up on our skin, because too many of us have been waved off and had our worries brushed aside. A good doctor is worth the world for the things the kitchen was never meant to fix. Know the line. The oil is for the soft everyday keeping. The doctor is for the thing that changed. And I will say one more time, quiet what was done here, because it is worth grieving even while we fix it. There was a plain oil growing on a bush that acts like your own skin, that the old people knew and used for next to nothing. And instead of that plain truth reaching you, a whole industry put it in a gold jar, charged you $90 for a spoonful of it, and a story, and let you believe your tight, tired skin was your own failing to buy the right miracle. It was never your failing, and it was never your skin that was the problem. You were just told the expensive story so many times that the cheap true one got buried. Well, we are digging it back up, so here it all is in one place, plain, so you can carry it out of here whole. Buy the real jojoba oil. Cold pressed, unrefined, 100%, a few dollars, no gold lid, at night, on clean, damp skin. Warm 3 to 5 drops in your palms and press it up and out over your face, your neck, and your chest. Every night, around it. Keep your skin the old way. Wash gentle and lukewarm, never hot and stripping. Drink your water and eat your real food. Guard your face and hands from the sun and let go of the lie that we do not need to. Pat, do not pull, and sleep on satin. Seal with a little she in the cold months. And know the boundary, the doctor for anything that changed. That is the whole of it. That is what a spoonful in a $90 jar was standing in the way of. Before I let you go, tell me something down below. What was the fanciest jar you ever fell for? The one with the biggest promise printed on the label, and did it ever once do what it said it would? I have a feeling we have all been handed the same gold lid, and there is something in saying it out loud together. And if you are one of the women who never quite believed the counter, who always had a feeling the real answer was simpler and older and closer to home than they let on, then you already belong here with the rest of us. This is a circle of black women who kept the old knowing and refused to keep paying to have it sold back to us. Stay in it with me. Come sit with us again, so the next plain true thing they buried finds its way back to you too. You are one of us, and there is more of this coming.